It is made of a mirror. This creates such unusual optical illusions. And of course, inside the home chapel, one of the bathrooms is located. There is also a place for trends here. Here, essentially, there are two modules. Moreover, note that they are narrow. This is done intentionally because these modules can... Hello friends, we are in Madrid, and today we will review an absolutely amazing event. Why is it amazing? Because it combines everything we love. First, it's an exhibition. Second, you could say it's a historical site. And third, it's about interiors. So this exhibition is created in the form of interiors, which in turn were designed by designers. This is an annual event called Casa Decor. Casa Decor is actually the name of an interior design magazine here in Madrid, and of course in Spain, and also the name of this wonderful event. Every single year, they look for some really old, amazing mansion, invite their partners, invite talented designers, and then refurnish it. And this year, it is the Palace of Trinidad. This is an early 20th century mansion that belonged to a wealthy and influential family. It now belongs to a fishing company from A Coruña. By the way, we talked about A Coruña on our travel channel, so if you're interested, check it out. This palace has an area of 3,600 square meters, 53 different rooms, and 50 designers along with suppliers have recreated the interiors of this mansion. And the mansion itself is of course of great interest because it was built in the late regionalist style. But if you don't know what the originalist style in Spain is, it's essentially a Seville style. Here we will learn about some design elements of the exterior decoration that are characteristic, for example, of the famous Plaza de España. This complex was also built in the early 20th century for the Ibero-American Exposition. Again, if you haven't seen Seville, check it out. I have a similar short review on my travel channel. So here we see elements of Neo-Plateresque, Neo-Baroque, and this very Seville style. In other words, the mansion itself is beautiful. The garden is beautiful as well, and architects and landscape architects have also worked on it, incorporating some modern elements into the historical context. So let's dive into this incredible story. The exhibition takes place in three locations, in three parts of one location. The first is undoubtedly the mansion itself. It looks extremely luxurious, and I must say its condition is very, very pleasant. In the pavilion, which is an extension that appeared a little later, and actually in the garden also has two zones. These are the so-called round garden and rectangular garden. And here, the works are mainly by landscape architects, but there is also a completely new pavilion built, and it is very charming. Charming due to its highly appealing and visually striking exterior finish. This is ceramic tile that imitates shingles. This is a relatively new collection from a Spanish manufacturer. That means it is available and can be purchased. And it is not only used outdoors. It is not exactly used as roofing tiles, it is used for wall finishes. Inside, the space is designed in the color of the season according to Pantone. The columns are 3D printed. And by the way, this is probably my favorite element. A small sofa, a table, a lamp, a mirror made of brass. Everything looks quite nice to me. Good job. Besides the landscape installations and arrangements, which are quite lovely and intricately designed, there are also several beautifully crafted outdoor zones, meaning terraces designed by different artists and designers. But what impressed me the most in the garden was this object, which is essentially a pavilion of a Spanish company that produces countertops made of porcelain stoneware. Actually, it's not exactly porcelain stoneware, it's quite a complex material. And so they built an absolutely fantastically impressive structure. It is made of mirrors. This creates some absolutely unusual optical illusions in a way that is really fascinating. And of course, inside it is extremely meditative because the ceiling has perforations and the sunlight shines through at times. This creates absolutely stunning reflections. And with this created mist in the air, everything looks absolutely mystical and surreal. Well, inside, this pavilion is actually finished with this very material, this so-called porcelain stoneware. Well, overall, it's stunning. I'm starting to truly experience an incredible and deeply aesthetic pleasure. Well, overall, it should be said that this event is more about inspiration, so you won't find any brand new releases here. All of this is created, all these installations are made using real materials that can appear in interiors by real designers who create these interiors, but it's more about inspiration. In other words, it is a concentration, an essence of what happens during Milan Design Week, but within the confines of one mansion in one location. We have talked many times about how the garden terrace theme has indeed been such a very powerful, enduring trend for at least the past 5 years. And here, in addition to these outdoor relaxation areas, there are also kitchens. Moreover, the kitchens are outdoor as well. By the way, there was an incredible number of street kitchens at the Milan Salon. These are also small kitchen pavilions, so it's not necessary for the kitchen to be right on the terrace or decking. She can kind of hide in a separate little pavilion, well, in a sort of gazebo actually, because it traditionally has windows with glass. Not exactly, but there is a certain kind of coziness. As for outdoor pavilions, there is another not so obvious trend, but if you follow the topic, you have probably come across outdoor offices in some project reviews. And here too, something similar has been built, a separate pavilion where a person can retreat, work, or read a book. It has all the amenities, and it's such a great solution when the original project didn't include an office inside the main house. In that case, you can add an extension like this. And if you suddenly and unexpectedly want to work, you can easily go there, find some much-needed solitude, focus intently, and create something incredibly and truly inspiring that will absolutely amaze the whole world. And if you want to impress your guests who come over, for example, to a terrace like this, you should pay attention to these cute little balls. Besides, these are also light-up balls and outdoor fire pit balls. By the way, outdoor fireplaces are such a great find. They aren't exactly fireplaces, they're more like ambient fire. There are also various ball-shaped sound systems available, both floor-standing and hanging. They naturally have an outdoor finish, meaning the body, this very sphere, is made of a polymer that imitates clay and terracotta. And by the way, speaking of all these terracotta shades, they are also a big hit this season. I really like the concept of flowing spaces, the so-called in-out, which means a seamless connection between the terrace and the interior space of the house. But here, the concept of casa outdoor is also presented, meaning that the house is essentially outside. In other words, almost all functions are located outdoors. Here again, we have both a kitchen and a luxurious bar counter made of onyx, as well as a separate kind of covered area with a living room. Well, naturally, when it comes to the outdoors, it's always about the pool, it's always about relaxation, because, again, if the weather is nice, you want to take a dip. Well, and these are various, including outdoor decor, so besides these fireplaces and ambient fire, there are also some fountains, waterfalls, and some small water features. But what I like the most for such an outdoor lifestyle, possibly as a solution for a summer house, is the concept of modular homes. And here, one is presented. Here, essentially, there are two modules. Notice that they are narrow. This is done intentionally because these modules can be transported by regular vehicles on public roads without special escort. And here is the living room. There is a spacious bedroom and a cozy bathroom, and they are connected by a passage area with beautiful terraces, as well as a decorative pond. I think it's a great decision, and it's the first time I've seen it done so luxuriously. I mean, really, everything looks fantastic. Marble is used and expensive textured materials are used. I really like the light fixtures, which have the same finish as the walls. And it looks really amazing, even though the technology itself is very simple and very quick in terms of construction, because the main building happens at the factory. They bring you ready-made modules, assemble them, and then some minimal finishing and landscape design take place. The entrance area of the mansion truly deserves attention due to the very delicate and beautiful integration of modern design into a historical context. For example, the historical columns here are dressed in such covers that represent quite an unusual organic form and accordingly finished. And these columns are made, just like in the first pavilion, using 3D printing. Here there is an absolutely luxurious mirrored waterfall. Below, the planter is also 3D printed. The light fixtures, both outside on this improvised porch and above the entrance staircase, are also 3D printed. The ones inside look as if they are made of glass, but in reality they are still plastic. These include pendant lights, wall sconces, and this decor, this pattern, all of which are also created using 3D printing. I have talked about this a lot already. In my opinion, 3D printing is now a modern form of craftsmanship. And finally, there is a cool application for this technology because the things made with it look truly beautiful. And what is also worth noting is, of course, the attention given to sustainability principles. I really like the absolutely beautifully ornamental landscape pebbles made from bottle glass, and they were incredibly stunning. Accordingly, new aesthetic and decorative possibilities also emerge here, as well as an excellent way to repurpose items that have outlived their usefulness. Mainly in the mansion, in the grand hall, along with an absolutely fantastic staircase, there is a kitchen, and here you can literally track some of the trend details that we saw once again at the same Milan Design Week. For example, when it comes to kitchens, the facades here are made with a metal frame, and the filling can be absolutely different. It could be porcelain stoneware, it could be wood, it could even be a mirror if you want. Next, we move to the adjacent room where all the seasonal colors are displayed. Well, again, it's the same peach that Pantone declared as the color of the year. These are terracotta shades, green shades, and blue shades. And of course, here we also see various artisanal practices with a wide range of materials. This includes ceramics, glass, concrete, and naturally wood. It is also considered very tasteful to use artisanal products instead of mass-produced ones. A small room where I was amused by a record player designed as a round table. Overall, the cylinder is also a statement object. And of course, a rather original solution for the design of the electrical panel. Usually it is. Everyone hides it, but here it was decorated in such a way that it became, if not the center of this space, then at least it looked like a decorative object. One of the bathrooms is located in the home chapel. Well, the connection here is probably quite logical because chapels are associated with certain rituals. Sending off and the ritual of bathing. It is one of the main and very intimate moments that occur in our lives. There is also room for trends here. Well, real bathtubs alone, of course, won't surprise anyone anymore. Integrating nature into the potion probably won't surprise anyone either. But island wash zones, now that's something. This is what was mentioned again at Milan Design Week and is also installed here. There is a certain logic to this, and it is an entirely new interpretation of space, primarily for large bathrooms, but not always and not exclusively. On the other side of the main hall, there is another bathroom. Well, let's call it a guest bathroom or powder room, a small room where you can freshen up. There is, of course, an island composition, and the wash area is absolutely logical. Overall, this solution is more applicable to public spaces. It has a slightly boudoir-like atmosphere, dim lighting, and again, the trendy colors of the season. And of course, I really like it when the molding is painted in such a rich color, the same as the main room. Another small room represents a meditative space with paintings, posters, waves, and corresponding musical, or rather, sound accompaniment that enhances the experience. Despite the organizers' efforts to maintain some logical flow from room to room, it doesn't always work out. On the second floor, you logically arrive at the reception area, which is finished with handmade tiles. Another checkmark for the craft practitioners. Next, you move on to the spa, which in general can also somehow be. Moreover, this spa has public restrooms, but it's impossible to use them because there's always a line. And then you enter an absolutely luxurious office, which in general, of course, falls out of the overall logic. But the office itself is, of course, absolutely stunning. The designer did an excellent job with the scenography, and the execution is simply magnificent. And overall, what is pleasing about this exhibition is that, despite being a temporary event, it doesn't feel like a very local event. There aren't tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of visitors like at Milan Design Week. Everything is made with real craftsmanship. The items are truly impressive. There's none of that cardboard-like quality that you often see in our installations. And this space is truly a luxurious office. The desk, if it can be called a working desk, apparently belongs to the owner of the office. The lounge area with trendy sofas and stylish finishes, and comfortable. A travertine coffee table again, and also a separate area for tea drinking. The tea area is cozily situated in the bay window, offering a stunning view of the garden. And now we are in another bathroom. Apparently this is the bathroom adjacent to the office, an extremely luxurious bathroom that is also very skillfully integrated into the historical space. I really like this frieze with the light fixtures, again finished with tiles, and again in a very trendy combination, but on the other hand, in a historical classic combination, you could say, of this terracotta shade of glossy tiles and black borders. Here we see an island composition again. Here we see naturally black hardware and faucets. Well, it's kind of just the standard now. And here are some very interesting wall panels. At first I thought it was also ceramic, but friends, it's not. These are leather panels with a very interesting pattern, somewhat tropical. Well, the tropics are a bit out of fashion now, but I really like the monochrome execution and the texture. Next, from the bathroom, where do we go? To the kitchen. A very interesting proximity. Well, why not? The kitchen is, naturally, an island layout. Well, I think that nowadays it's probably the only right configuration for more or less large spaces. And this is a kitchen that, in general, is practically not a kitchen. It's more like a living room because there's a library and armchairs in one corner. You can sit, read, and watch your beloved wife cook, or watch your beloved husband cook, or in general, just watch when someone is cooking. You can work here. There is a small workspace. The entire space is paneled. By the way, this is a very good practice, dressing walls with furniture. This is, well, obviously good for such installations because you can put it on and take it off. And in principle, it significantly speeds up repair work. We talked about this wonderful factory again at the Milan Design Week. Be sure to check it out. I'll leave a link to this episode in the description. As for the trends, they are all here again, and the color palette is very trendy. Regarding kitchens, besides the frames already mentioned at Milan Design Week, there were many ribbed kitchen facades, and they are also represented here. Next, we move on again, you could say more logically, to the home theater. It looks great. I must say the furniture is very unusual. I have never encountered such an aesthetic before. It's a combination of rather brutal wood and stone, and overall everything is so generous with such good proportions. Overall, it's a cool space. There are also, naturally, sound-absorbing, or more precisely, sound-diffusing panels, which are simply a necessity in a home theater to achieve at least a decent sound quality. And of course, the most stunning part is the outdoor dining area, which is located on a huge, luxurious balcony overlooking a rather unremarkable, quite ordinary local residential area. Therefore, it can definitely be said that those guys indeed have a much better view in law than this mansion, undoubtedly. What I definitely did not expect to see was a comfortable and cozy bunker that I had never imagined. Well, it's understandable that there is a certain logic to this, considering the international tensions and various statements. And this, in fact, cannot really be called a trend, considering the simply limited, let's say, demand. In other words, there aren't many people who can build a bunker for themselves. This idea has actually been floating around and discussed by many people, especially those who react sharply to current events and can afford it, for the past couple of years. Indeed, the bunker is very cozy and has absolutely everything. You go down and find yourself in a normal modern interior, well, with its own features, of course. As for the barbecue trend, it's clear that this is a story already on the decline, but there is a small kitchen here that, in general, embodies this aesthetic. I wouldn't pay attention to that, it's just a social phenomenon. There's no need to incorporate it into interiors because it's already going out of style. If not to say that this one didn't really go there fully. Then we go up to the third floor, and here in general the exhibition is a bit weaker. A rather nice little room, finished with stone, showcasing its plasticity, and indeed, this material offers us far more possibilities than we can imagine. A rather modest bathroom without any flashy or bright idea. It looks really very nice, put together very well, but nothing more. And here is the next such living room office kitchen. This is precisely a demonstration of what sets good designers apart from ordinary or sometimes even mediocre designers. This room was put together by a design studio, a department store, and El Corte Inglés. The design studio determines the result. This is probably the most uninspiring space presented here. The same can't be said about the balcony. It's definitely extremely psychedelic, and up to this point, it's probably the very brightest spot on the third floor. Right now, I am in yet another bathroom, but this one is more of a non-functional bathroom, meaning it is more of a decorative concept to represent this brand. Here, a technique called accumulation is used. By the way, we talked about it when we visited the Yayoi Kusama exhibition. She was indeed actually the very first to come up with this repetitious pattern, and from there came her never-ending dots and so on. And here, this technique is also partially used. The next kitchen is quite practical, in my very honest opinion indeed, because it features an interior that can be directly transferred to an apartment or a house, and a very relevant yet long-lasting color scheme, and again, indeed, a very logical island solution. There are also two islands here, which are connected by a bridge in the form of a dining table. By the way, this is also a very interesting story. There were many such tables, not bridges, but full-fledged dining bar counters, so to speak, at the Eurocucina exhibition. And it's worth paying attention to the wall decor. These are special ceramic bricks which are known for their durability and aesthetic appeal that create an extremely bright texture on the wall. They are made, well, naturally by a Spanish company, and we have talked about it as well, including at the Circe exhibition. The link will be in the description. Check it out. Well, and if needed, you'll know exactly where to order. We're completely done with the main mansion. I must say the exhibition is really very dense, really very packed. So there was also a kitchen on the third floor. Well, I wouldn't say it was very impressive, but it was designed like a greenhouse. And there's a very small space with a fireplace made for an unclear purpose. Well, that's about it. There was another bathroom on the first floor. Again, it looks amazing in historical interiors with that carved ceiling, just stunning. It's like a bathroom, a living room. Well, this is again such an important, proper trend when items more typical of living spaces are integrated into the bathroom. It's great. I like the screen, which is made with a wooden frame but filled with stainless steel. Overall, it's a nice space. And on the other side of the entrance, there is a tiny house concept that represents a small house. In other words, almost everything you might need is placed in a very limited space. That is a sleeping area, a kitchen, a workspace dining area, and of course, again, a washing area, meaning a shower. And here too, this combination of historical decorative elements and modern ones looks really great. Modern, once again, made with 3D printing and innovative backlighting. In general, I was really impressed by the 3D printing here because it looks truly amazing. As for the street, by the way, there are still a few objects here such as stone boulders. In fact, it is often these remnants, actually indeed marble production scraps, although it is practically waste-free. But such, let's say, non-standard items from which slabs can no longer be cut look cool but are significantly cheaper. They can be used in landscape design, including, by the way, indoors. This is the kind of marble block from which the column at the Paris de Pau event exhibition was made. If you haven't seen it, take a look. Although I think I already left you a link, there are a million of them. The exposition in this additional pavilion is indeed more modest and definitely simpler, but there are still some interesting things and discoveries. A quite striking and truly classic kitchen, combining black fronts, light gray marble, and an island beautifully finished with natural walnut. All of this, of course, always looks great and will look great elegantly for a lifetime. The small kitchen located in such a very complex space, first of all, demonstrates the capabilities of the factory that actually made it. There, among the interesting and relevant ideas, is a small pantry where all the small household appliances are hidden, meaning they are not placed on countertops, which is nice. And the second little storage room where the laundry area is hidden, like the dryer and the washing machine, and some mops and other things. Well, there should be a place for that somewhere, and of course it's good if there's a separate and hidden spot for it. In terms of combination, well, nothing particularly new. It's that ultramarine blue with light wood. Well, it always looks impressive, such an inverted fluting. Well, it's not exactly new either. It's good, but not impressive. By the way, what is impressive is the presence of a restaurant. A full-fledged one, because at the same Milan Design Week, or rather at the exhibition at the Salone del Mobile, well, it's possible to eat decently there, but it's just impossible because of those trashy cafes with paninis. Well, it's just a disaster for the taste buds. The restaurants along the gallery, well, they often have a very mediocre level, generally speaking. There is a decent restaurant here, and this restaurant is from the Rosewood Villa Magna Hotel. It is also located nearby in the Salamanca district. There's a 5-star hotel there, very good. By the way, I was there yesterday. By a completely random coincidence, I had a great time at the Michelin-starred restaurant Amos by Jesus Sanchez. Well, naturally, this will be in the travel vlog. I'm also filming about modern architecture in Madrid, so make sure to check it out. And there will also be something about the restaurant. And about the design hotel, by the way. So, 2 reasons for you to check it out. So, what else is in this small pavilion? Bent boiseries made of plywood. Well, that's kind of the idea. It's just interesting that on one side there are boiseries, on the other side it's made of plywood, and on the third side they're also bent. Overall, it looks pretty good. Well, once again, all the main impressions are in the garden, all the main impressions are in these pavilions, and all the main impressions are, of course, in this, well, absolutely stunning, luxurious mansion, which is located in, well, a fairly ordinary, decent but ordinary development. Nevertheless, I must say that I absolutely loved it here. I had an enormous, colossal amount of fun. I got really less enjoyment from attending non-exhibition programs in Milan than from attending this very interesting event, because it was truly an absolutely excellent combination of design talent and apparently really quite active participation from many remarkable manufacturers. And of course, as organizers, this media group and Casa Decor magazine did a very absolutely amazing job. Well, the main character here, of course, is this mansion, this estate, this manor, if you will, because, of course, without these luxurious interiors, without this luxurious architecture, without this wonderful garden, well, it just wouldn't have turned out so great. That's why it's such a perfect match here, because the maximum number of different aspects came together, and from this, a wonderful event was born. So I highly recommend, if you ever get the chance, definitely come to Madrid for Casa Decor. I sincerely recommend it from the bottom of my heart. You will have a great time and get a big dose of inspiration. And maybe you'll learn something new and practical. Well, I hope this video also inspired you to create beautiful, sensible, and wonderful, comfortable interiors. If so, please give it a like. As always, write something nice. And of course, share this video with your friends. They might find it interesting too. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to click the bell. This is very important because without these actions, unfortunately, it's very difficult to promote the video. Overall, I think it would be great if, in my opinion, as many people as possible, including friends and family, truly indeed will touch the beautiful once more. And there's no such thing as too much. That's all. Bye.